So how is everyone doing today? My name is Aisha Malone. I am a fifth grade ELA teacher. I'm also a current entrepreneur. I am the owner and co-founder of Rose Café. Just to talk a little bit about Rose Cafe is a reading cafe that I'm trying to bring into the 60628 area code. One thing that we notice is that there is a deficit of reading resources, literacy resources in the neighborhood. And as an educator, I do know the importance of the reading amongst our young kids. So what I wanted to kind of do was cut the book desert in our neighborhood by making reading fun, enjoyable, and showing representation. I think it's very important that kids see someone that looks like them making a big deal out of reading. So that's the goal right now for Rose Cafe.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Silverman. I'm a former elementary school teacher and I'm a current student studying education policy. I'm the co-founder and creative director at Rose Cafe. And our motto at Rose Cafe is Books, Coffee, Community. And as a way to foster community during this time where everything is virtual, we've been hosting author talks, and that's what we're doing today. But we thought that this could be a very special event based on the nature of this book, the book Innerview. We thought would be a great opportunity for students to gain some leadership skills in interviewing themselves. So we're going to have them take it away.
My name is Elijah. I'm a senior. I go to the De La Salle Institute, and the scholarship Tamara, Vaughn, and me are a part of is Link Unlimited. And this is a scholarship that helps African American families pay for high schools. And it also gives us career development tools as well as educational opportunities, college educational opportunities as well.
Hi, my name is Vaughn Bledsoe. I'm a senior at Fenwick High School in Oak Park, and next fall I will be attending Duke University on a full ride scholarship.
Hi, my name is Tamara Trimule. I am a senior at Marian Catholic High School, and I'm the author of Dear Black Girl, You Are It, which was published in June. Today, we'll be interviewing Natilie Williams. She is a native from the South Side of Chicago. She attended Central Michigan University for her bachelor's degree and Illinois State University for her master's degree. Totally free. She graduated from both universities debt-free. She is also the founder of Nat Will Speak and travels the nation to equip students with leadership skills they need to achieve their wildest dreams. So before we get into our questions, we would like to ask you, Ms. Williams, what was your inspiration for writing Innerview Lessons in Leadership?
Hey, Tamira, before I get started, I totally recognize you. So that's like when you started speaking, I was like, oh, shoot. Okay. I'm familiar with her. Yeah. That is so amazing. That just made my night. So thank you. Yeah. My inspiration for writing the book was that I wanted to reflect and I wanted to grow. Really, really simple. I wanted to reflect and I wanted to grow. And I believe that my growth could be maximized if I took the time and like really reflected and not just reflect it and it sound cute, but like reflect on the good, the bad, and the ugly. And for the bad and the ugly, figure out how I could make those things beautiful, how I could grow, how I could look at situations where I experienced loss and grief or even death or just a lot of those tough things that people don't want to relive. I wanted to be able to assess in order to go forward. I also wanted to look at the circle of company that I kept and what role did they play in my past? What role did they play in my current? And then also look at what role they would play in my future. So I wanted to reflect, I wanted to grow, and I also wanted to share my full circle moments with the world. Because in the book, I talk about it in the book, is I had these moments that were like mind-blowing. And I wanted to share that with the world, and I wanted them to be able to have their own moments of reflection in order to grow.
I think that's so beautiful. I love that so much. I really loved your Secret Service part of your book. And as lay people, like we hear about the Secret Service and, you know, those are the people who would lay their life on the line for the president. But we change so much during our lives and, you know, we meet different people during college and people leave. So when do you think it's the best time to start building up that Secret Service? Like actual foundation that you will carry for the rest of your life?
Now, even in high school, I think that that's super important, because the earlier you understand the importance of Secret Service members, the better you are with being able to pick out the right Secret Service members. So it's not just about having Secret Service members, but it's about having the right people. Because even if you take that analogy and you look at it literal, yes, a president, any US president will want to have Secret Service, but even more than that, they want to have the right people, right? So in the event that something happens, they're ready, they're prepared, they are willing to lay their life down for this person, and they're not just there to collect a paycheck. And so I think that it's really important that we, even in high school, we start considering who are our Secret Service members. Who do we have in our life that as we grow and move forward towards our goals, they're willing to help protect us and our goals. And so if you look at your goals as being the US president, you would want your Secret Service to be people that can help protect it, because self-doubt is real, fear is real, imposter syndrome is real, self-doubt again is real. And so your Secret Service members are able to help protect your goals by helping you push out doubt, helping you push out fear, or even stopping you from maybe making the decision that may not be the best decision. And sometimes we get, especially as teenagers, sometimes our perception of danger is a lot lowered. And so sometimes it takes those Secret Service members to say, hey, if you make this one decision, that can completely throw your life off course. And so those Secret Service members understand the importance and the values of the goals that you have, and they're willing to help you get there.
So you mentioned throughout the book that like you had many female roles, like your mom was your coach, and you had other mentors as well. And you mentioned some of your male roles too, such as your dad's. So I just wanted to know, like, what were some of your other male roles that maybe you didn't mention throughout the book as much?
Absolutely. So one of the people, I mentioned him briefly, I think I mentioned him maybe twice in the book, is my best male friend named Brian. And he and I, again, high school, we became friends in high school, and we were the most unlikely pair friends. Like, he was the popular jock in high school, and I was like the quiet geek. For some reason, we like hit it off as just friends. And to this day, he's one of my closest friends. We've never dated or anything like that. So that's like family through and through. And so, but he's someone who has been a huge part of my life and has been a huge Secret Service member. Even throughout college, I went to school in Michigan for college and undergrad. He went to a HBCU in Louisiana, so many miles away, but we were very intentional about still maintaining our friendship. So we would check in, how's college going? You making good decisions type of thing, and just being a resource for each other. Fast forward to now, we super grown now, and we still find time, not as much, but we still find time to be able to check in and see how things are going. And our conversations are just different now, right? We're talking about finances and investing and real estate and families and things like that. And so our foundation started in high school, but it continued to grow. And though he's a guy, he's a really big part of my life and a big part of who I am, because he has been there during those growing times from teenager years to adulthood. You mentioned what else? Any other men? I have a speaking mentor who is probably one of the biggest Black and multicultural Greek speakers in the country. And I would definitely say he's been a part of my journey with helping me even see the greatness that I had inside of me as a speaker, and showing me the business side of speaking. Because yes, you can speak, but if you don't know the business side of it, you may as well not even start. That's like being a really dope fashion designer. If you don't know the business side of it, no good. That's like being a music artist. You could be the best rapper from here until tomorrow, but if you don't get the business side right, it's over. And so he has shown me the business side of it. And for that, I am forever grateful, because sometimes it helps when you have people that can see the greatness within you, sometimes in the areas that you don't always see it within yourself. And so he had to, as I always say, like put me up on game to show me that speaking is a career path, and here's how you do it, and here's how you do it right. And I always say, he is the Jay-Z to my J. Cole. And so if you ever notice, like Jay-Z was not always in J. Cole's music videos. He was not doing all of that extra stuff, but he played a background role and helped put the batteries in J. Cole's back to be great. And so my mentor, his name is Rashid. He's the exact same way. He'll give me one word of advice, one piece of wisdom, and I'll take it and like run with it and do all these amazing things and come back to him and be like, hey, this is what I did off of what you said. He's like, Nat, you did all of that off of one sentence. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I listen when you talk and I take your words very seriously. So those are two men that have, besides my dad, who's been really instrumental and influential in my life, in different parts of my life.
So I know Rose Cafe, one of their sayings is a rose that grew from the concrete. And in your book, you talk about having, you know, a wilderness, a time of being in a wilderness, you know, with you having to adjust to a new life, a new school, with you having to adjust to going to college, you losing your mom, you having to move with your grandmother. So what are some tips that you can give students our age, because you were young when you went through those things? What is some advice that you can give us to grow like a rose in our wilderness?
Absolutely. Whew, sheesh. Looking back to that time, if what I probably needed to hear, and I'm sure somebody told it to me during that time, was you'll make it. You will make it. This probably seems difficult. Ain't no probably, it is. But you will make it, and you have to honor how you feel. You have to honor how you feel, whether it's sadness, whether it's anger, whether it's not being able to understand why your situation is how it actually is. But you have to be able to honor how you feel. But the secret is to not build a home there, to not build a home in the grief, to not build a home in the anger. And I talk about the Golden Girls in the book. One of the Golden Girls told me that quote at one point, maybe like 2 years ago, because I was going through a rough time and I was like, y'all, I ain't feeling like I need some type of encouragement. And she told me, she said, Nat, honor your feelings, but don't build a home there. And I would give that to teenagers now, is to honor your feelings, especially if you feel like you're going through a situation that's not fair, whether it's COVID and you can't, because of COVID, you are not able to have that social life with your friends at school, or whatever you may be going through. Because even as a teenager, you have a lot of teenagers dealing with adult-like issues. Is honor your feelings, but then also find people that can help guide you and direct you. And so in the book, I talk about my situation, but I also talk about my AVID teacher, who was my teacher for a college prep program. And she took to me, I took to her as well. And she was able to assist me with making good choices throughout high school and showing me the importance of college. So I would definitely tell teenagers to honor your feelings, but then also find adults that can help guide you along the path, and find people that can also show you what you want to be. And so though I lost my mom and my entire life changed and the floor from up under me was no longer there, I was able to still find people that were going somewhere, that were driven. And I was able to kind of get mentorship from them in order to just be a better person and figure out, like, okay, what is this high school thing like in the city of Chicago? Like, what do I need to be aware of? What type of decisions do I need to make? Do I not need to make, type of thing? So find people that can have your back, and find good people. That's one thing. And I read the Chicago Sun-Times every day. Though I currently live in Missouri, but for school, I read the Sun-Times every day. And I see a lot of stuff that's going on in Chicago with like the carjackings and things like that. And I saw the retired firefighter that got killed at the popcorn place on Western. They caught one of the young men that was there. And I think he was 15 years old. 15 years old. And the first thing I thought was, if they charge this young man as an adult, it's a done deal. It's a wrap. It's an absolute wrap. And I bring that story up to say, they're probably going to throw the book at him if they charge him as an adult, and you literally are losing the best years of your life because of a decision that you made at 15 years old. Are you telling me that nobody in the car said, yo, it's broad daylight. It's cameras around here. This man may have a gun and shoot back at us. So who was in the car that could say we should not make this decision? So I bring that situation up to say that even as teenagers, we need to surround ourselves with people and with friends that can think and say, this is not what we should be doing. Yeah. This is what we should be doing. So it's important to surround yourself with people that want to go somewhere in life, because that can help light the fire of ambition under you as well.
Yeah, you don't always need a yes man. You need friends.
Absolutely not.
Your place.
If everybody's saying yes and nobody's thinking of what is, like, it's really easy to see something coming at you. And I always say with teenagers is, don't just look at what's in front of you, think of what's around the corner. So don't just think I'm gonna do this. Think about what happens if this goes wrong. Mm-hmm. Am I ready to deal with the consequences? What happens if we do get caught? Are we prepared to spend the rest of our lives in this situation? You know, so I think it's really important to always say, think of what's around the corner, not just what's in front of you.
I'm sorry, my thing just froze. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you brought up your quote that your golden girl had given you, that's an amazing quote. I'm going to carry that with me for a long time. And that actually led me into my next question for you. I really loved your chapter about the counseling and how you kind of like sought out counseling. And, you know, the thing is like sometimes, especially within the Black community, it's stigmatized, you know, like you're seen as like weak for getting it, or like as Black women, like we're seen as like stronger than everybody else, and we have to be able to handle everything without getting or seeking help. So if someone were to come to you, like a young Black girl, and is like, I don't know what to do, I'm thinking about counseling, but I don't know, like what would you tell her, like the benefits to kind of tell her like it's okay and that she can do it and seek out that help?
Absolutely. I would be super excited that she's even considering it, because that consideration shows that there's some level of interest there. But I will also say that life gives all of us experiences that can tear us down to our foundation. And I would tell her, like my dad has told me, if you have yet to have that experience, just keep on living. You too will have a chance. Your life will definitely give you that situation. And our responsibility is to honor how we feel, not build a home in the feelings, but then also to be able to self-assess to say, am I okay? If I am not okay, do I have the tools that I need to be okay? If I don't have those tools, how can I seek those tools out to be okay? I would reassure her that there's nothing wrong with counseling. If she felt like it was, I would, be open and vulnerable and transparent and talk about my own experiences with it, because I realized that with like my background, so like working on a PhD, or I'm an author and I get to travel the country and speak, it can look real glam and real cute, like life ain't been no experience for me. No, I would give that behind the scenes peek and to say, this is what I've been through. This is why I sought counseling. This is what I feel like would have happened to me had I not sought counseling. And so I would say that it's important to be able to talk to someone that is equipped, someone that is licensed, and someone that has the academic and professional background to be able to help. And in the book, I talk about how there was this one time, the Golden Girls, we went to breakfast and we were all just like adulting at a higher level. And we like, yo, this ain't easy. This is not easy. Our first full-time jobs, making real money, or some of us were still in our master's program about to graduate. And I talked to them about my journey with counseling, because I was the first person out of my girl group to go. And I'm like, y'all, this is lit. This is lit. I get to talk about whatever I want to talk about. It ain't going nowhere. Of course, if you talk about harming yourself or other people, then they have to notify like the police and stuff like that. But I'm like, yo, I get to talk about anything in there. Like, and I was like, yo, this is good. I'm like, I feel lighter in the sense that I don't have to carry like baggage and weight. And I was like, y'all, I got to talk about like how I felt with like losing my mom and relationships in my family. And I'm like, y'all, this is it. I said, yo, we gotta, as a tribe, we have to like, y'all gotta try this. Like, y'all have to try this. And I'm like, just, talking about it and talking it up. And I gave the analogy, and I mentioned this in a book. I was saying like, mental health services are so important because we all carry baggage. And I use the analogy of an airplane. And I was like, well, imagine if all of us got on the airplane with this just off the wall amount of baggage, or if one person got on this plane with all of this baggage, it could essentially cause the plane to crash and therefore harm everybody else on this plane that it wasn't their baggage. It wasn't their fault. They were just there. And so they're almost guilty by association. You essentially are bleeding on people that didn't cut you. And I was like, yo, we have to make sure that we aren't handing other people our baggage. Didn't know that one of my golden girls was going through what she was going through with her family. And when I said that analogy, it people, how people say like, oh, I feel attacked type of thing. It was like that, but in a joking way. Like she didn't feel like I attacked her, but she was able to connect to that statement. And that was the moment where she was like, oh, I got to go get counseling. She realized that she was carrying a lot of baggage. And so I would tell that young lady that therapy is lit. Therapy is cool. And therapy allows you to think a lot more clearer because you aren't having all of these racing thoughts through your head. You get to talk through them. And the beautiful thing about counseling is not just talking, it's also equipping you with the tools in order to actually do the work. And so I would talk it up. I would talk it up like it's my favorite Beyonce album. Like when you listen to this song, did you hear what she said in this song? Like I would talk it up like that because I truly believe that counseling, it's a godsend.
In the book, you talked about the corporate job that you said you hated, and and one of the questions I wanted to ask was, because I know like now in today's society, it's mostly male dominated in jobs. So I wanted to say, how did you feel like working a job that you hated and also may have been male dominated?
So with the job, I started working there while I was in my master's program, and I started working in the HR department. I loved it. They had like a high school internship program that I got to help run. And like, I was just in my bag at that point. Like I loved it. I had like a work family in the HR department. Like you couldn't tell me nothing then, but I was working part-time. And then they had a role that opened up in the IT department. Keep in mind, my degree was in public relations. My master's was in communication. I had no experience in IT, but it was like this business analyst experience. They're like, oh, well, you don't have to have a degree in IT. You should apply. So I was like, all right, cool. So I applied, got the job, which meant I had to move from HR to IT. And then when I moved, they ended up hiring somebody else for the position I had in HR. So like my position was gone because somebody else had it. So I couldn't go back because I hated the IT position. And so you asked me, how did I feel about it? That job was such a blessing because it taught me what I did not want to do. And there's nothing wrong with corporate. Let me clarify. There's nothing wrong with corporate. I was just working in an area that wasn't a good fit for me. The HR department, I loved it. IT department, not so much. My boss, she probably wasn't the best leader. She wasn't for me. I wasn't for her. But she taught me how I like to be led from a leader that is leading me. And she taught me how I would not lead my own team because I didn't like certain aspects of how she would communicate or talk down to me like I'm not an adult type of thing. And so it taught me automatically like, nope, when I become in a certain position, I'm not doing that. And so it taught me what to do and what not to do. And it was also a huge investor in my speaking business as well. So while I didn't like the job, they paid me way too much money. And so I was like, okay, well, cool. While I am trying to figure out how I'm gonna get out of here, I'm gonna keep collecting these paychecks. I knew all of the HR policies because I'm a geek and I love to read. So I knew like when I wanted to quit, I knew to wait to turn in my letter of resignation until we got our bonus, because I read the language in the HR pamphlet that said that you had to be an employee when the bonus was dispersed, not just the year that it was going to be dispersed, but the day. So if the bonus was going to be dispersed March 20th, 2020, you had to still be employed there that particular day. So I waited, and I knew what I was doing. And so it was important for me to have a good team that I could run that decision by, because that was a big decision. And so I had like different Secret Service members that were able to help me look at my blind spots to say, well, what am I not thinking about? And then it being male dominated, yes. It was male dominated. It wasn't a lot of Black people that worked there. It was a lot of things that the company needed to work on, but I wasn't going to wait for them to fix it.
So in the book, you talk a lot about leadership. And one of my questions is, at our age, did you have the power of influence in a good way with your leadership? And what advice would you give for us now as seniors in high school to use our leadership?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would. I mentored students when I was in high school as I started like junior and senior year, to the point of when I went off to college, some of those students that I mentored, they end up going to the same school and they graduated from there as well. And so even in college, they went to the college, not, let me say, it wasn't just because it wasn't, I don't want to say it was because I was there or just because I was there. The school was a great school, but I'm sure it gave them extra comfort knowing they were going to school out of state because somebody from their high school went there. And my high school class was the first high school class to have people go to that particular school. So it was important for me to mentor other students. It was important for me to show them my leadership process by how did I make the decision to go to Central Michigan University? What scholarships did I apply for? So I think it's really important for you all as seniors is to find other students that you can pour into, that you can provide some words of wisdom, that you can provide some direction to as well. I think that's super duper important. I think it's monumental, honestly, because I saw people in high school when I was a sophomore or a junior and they were seniors, they mentored me as well. So it was very much so cyclical. So even now, there's a young lady I went to high school with. She is working on her PhD at Howard. She's like almost done. I've always looked up to her. I always big her up on social media and let her know, like, you're the reason why. There's another young lady. She went to high school together. She's now in med school. She was a senior when I was a sophomore. And she was like a big sister to me, just somebody whose path I could follow. So I would definitely recommend that you all find students that you can just show your blueprint to. These are really good questions, by the way. These are like good questions. So for me as a college instructor, they always tell you, like, don't ask like yes or no questions. You ask deeper level questions. So not, do you have a question when I ask my students, but I say, what questions do you have? So you all are asking me like really good, like, what questions do you have type of questions.
Thank you.
I'm thoroughly impressed.
One of the quotes that I read, it was on page 130. It really resonated with me. It was, the same sun that goes down at night and causes darkness is the same sun that will rise again in the morning and bring light. Mm-hmm. And I really think that quote just like summarizes your whole story in a way, like from you ever since your childhood all the way to now. You just, that same sun that was, you still had the hope that the sun will rise again. So it's really like that quote.
Thank you. That was powerful. Thank you. I appreciate you pulling that quote out. Writing this book was like a additional source of therapy too. And you're talking about the chapter, Don't Die, especially in the winter. And like, being from Chicago, those winters are brutal too. Like, to think of it in a literal sense, I mean brutal, like polar vortex. Like, you know, if you flying into Chicago and you over Lake Michigan, like it's frozen, and going down, you walking downtown, your fingers are frozen. Like, you know, you trying to hang out. It's just people moving fast, trying to get to where they're going. That is, it's the word. You slipping and sliding on the roads. Like, it's ice, all of that stuff. But if you think that there's all that there is because of the season, because of the winter, like it's really easy to give up. But it's like, no, if you hold on a little while longer, summertime shy is right around the corner, you know, and you can go out to the barbecues and hang out and go to the picnics and all of that stuff. And so I really thought about that analogy. It's like, if you only look at what's in front of you, you're missing what's around the corner. And it's really important to have hope, you know, as well, because if you're hopeless or you're in despair, you don't think nothing's around the corner. You don't care to wait for it. So that quote for me was very monumental as well.
And to sum it up, my last question is, you talk a lot about mentorship, as you mentioned before. And you also said that every mentor or every person that you think is a good mentor is not. It's kind of like the blind leading the blind. So what tips would you give us to pick the right people to invest in our character and invest in our future?
That is such a good question. That question, you get like some snaps for it.
That's good.
Because there's something called counterfeit mentorship. Counterfeit mentorship says, I look like the real deal. Counterfeit mentorship says, I look like I can add value, but if you hold me up to the light long enough, you'll realize I'm a fake. I'm a phony. And you want to realize that before you go and cash out at the mall and you get to the register to pay for your stuff. And they're like, oh no, like call the police. This person has fake money. You don't want those problems. And so there's counterfeit mentorship. There's also authentic mentorship. Authentic mentorship says, I got your back. Authentic mentorship says, the world does not have to know my name because I'm here for you and I'm here to pour into you and I want to see you succeed. And I in one of the chapters, I think it's called Behind the Stage Sets the Scene. Like those mentors, those authentic mentors are there to help you behind the stage. They're there to make sure you don't have no spinach in your teeth, to make sure that your eyelashes are on right. They're there for you so that when you step in front of the stage and they're no longer there, that you are able to be in front of the audience and do what it is that you're called to do. And so when we think about authentic mentorship, it's 3 things that authentic mentors should have. And I feel so strongly about this. Because if you read the book, I talk about a counterfeit mentorship experience that I had. Mentors should have the heart for mentorship, meaning I want to do this. Like I want to be a part of your life. And if they don't have the heart, it feels different. That's like if you go to a restaurant and like they don't make your food with love, you can taste it. Have you ever seen people that had a job and you can tell that they don't like people, but they work in customer service? And it's like, you probably shouldn't do this for a living. Mentorship is the same way. Like you want them to have a heart for it, that they have a heart for people. They have a heart for you. You look at the heart. You also want them to have the experience. So whatever area that they're mentoring you in, they have the experience in so they can show you what to do, what not to do. Last but not least, you want them to have the intentions. And so good intentions, they mean you well. They want to see you succeed. They mean you well. They don't want to tell you what you should do just because they want to run your life, but they want to tell you what you should do because they understand the value of the goals and the purpose that you have. And mentorship can help you go further than you ever thought. Mentorship can save you so much time. One of my favorite speakers, authors, he always says that mentorship saves you time. His name is Dr. Darius Daniels. And so he says, what it may have taken someone 20 years to learn, they can sit down and mentor you over the course of a couple months and show you what it is that they learned in 20 years. And so I think mentorship is so important. It's important to receive it authentically, and it's important to give it authentically as well, because I look at it as it's a cycle. I have mentors in my life. One of them, I talked to her today, and I talk about her in the book, Chiquita or Chi. Talked to her today, and she's a huge mentor, because she wants to see me win, and she can check me like nobody's business, and it's all out of love. And it's really important that you have those mentors that can hold you accountable with love and through love. So mentorship, I cannot sing its praises. Its praises enough.
Ron, did you have any more questions? I know we ran over time a little bit, Natalie. We apologize about that.
Oh, you're fine. I cleared my schedule for the night, so nothing was gonna tie into it.
I did have one question I didn't get to touch on. So I really liked your chapter about the Al Jones. Like that was kind of like funny to think about. And like it was almost like an insight to like how my college experience might be, how there might be those kind of people. And I remember you talked about like you went to him and like had dinner with him and you kind of told him and he was like, whoa, like I had no clue that I was that important or like that I had made that much of an impact. And I wanted to know, has anyone given you that same experience? Like, has anyone come to you and been like, yo, you're like, you did this, you're amazing. And you're like, whoa, I didn't even know I had that impact to you. So.
Yes. And let me say, like, Al Jones, anytime I talk to him, I always tell him like, you're the GOAT. And he's like, Nat, no, you're the GOAT. And I'm like, no, Al, like you literally taught me everything that I know. And as you all go to college, find your Al Jones. Like Al Jones was somebody that was a great student leader. I think I was a freshman, he was a senior. I was a sophomore, he was a senior, something like that. And I didn't really know him on a personal level. I just always saw him in leadership roles everywhere. And I saw how he treated other people. And I just learned from him without knowing him. And over time, I ended up getting to know him. And then I got to tell him like, yo, like you taught me a lot without saying a lot. So when you go to college, look for those people that can help you. Just sit back and peep game, like see who are the gossipers, who are the messy people, who are the people that are going somewhere, who are getting the internships, you know, like, and just sit back and watch how they move. And so for me, I do have people that I mentor and they have like set me down and been like, Nat, like you've taught me so much. And one of them, I talk about her in the book. She's a student, so I changed her name in the book. I think I changed her name to Jasmine in the book. And she is a student here at Mizzou, at the university where I'm working on my PhD for, and she is a sophomore now. And I met her freshman year because I was speaking at an event and I got there early to get set up. As fate would have it, she got there early too. Of course, I wasn't just gonna let her sit there awkwardly. And so I just like, oh, what's your name? What are you studying? This was her first week on campus. And we hit it off. I saw her at another campus event that I spoke at a couple weeks later. And she had like natural hair and her curls were like popping. So when I saw her, I called her by her name and I was like, cause she came up to me to say hi and I called her by her name and I was like, girl, your curls are on point. And she was like, you remember my name? I was like, yeah, we had a full-blown conversation, of course. And she ended up DMing me on social media, I think the next day, and was like, oh my gosh, that meant a lot that you remember my name. And she was like, you know, I feel like, she's like, academically on campus, I'm thriving. Socially, I feel like I'm, you know, having a tough time. And she's like, you know, do you have some time in your schedule where we can sit down and talk? And I was like, of course. Here's my contact information. Is there static on my end, or can you all hear the static? You can hear it?
It just went away.
Okay. And so we ended up sitting down, I think I took her out for pizza, and I got to just like see how's everything going. And in the book, I talk about how a couple months later, that semester, her first semester, her dad passed away. And this was shortly before, I think, winter break. And so she had told me, so I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So I took her out for dinner that night just to get her away from campus, to clear her head and whatever. And so it became our thing where once a month, I would always like take her out for food, just so I could tap in with her. How's everything going in the classroom? I don't know, campus crushes, love life, goals, like whatever, like, and what can I help you with? And she got to ask me questions, whether it was academic questions like, yo, how do I do this with my schedule? If it was professional questions of, I want to go into law school, I want to go to law school one day, what do I do now? Or if it's love life questions where she asked me, she was like, Nat, okay, like, what's your love life like? Like, how do you maneuver in your love life? What are some things that I should look out for on campus when it comes down to dating? And so though our relationship started off very professional, mentor mentee, it definitely became like a personal relationship where she could ask me about, you know, my love life. And I'm like, all right, here's the tea, sis. Here's what it is. Here's what it's not, type of thing. And being able to direct and to guide her to now she is a sophomore. She is rocking it out on campus. She is in leadership positions. She is in Greek life now. She's in working in res life as an RA now. Like, she's doing all of these things. And we got to sit down and have, took her out for pizza again. We know, find like this place across town where wasn't that many people, so we could actually sit down and just talk. And she told me, thank you. And she was just like, you literally have poured so much into my life, that she's like, I feel like when I get to where I'm attempting to go professionally, she said, you will be in my thank you speech. And she's like, you're the big sister that I always have wanted, beyond the big sister that I already have in my family. And she's just like, you're so transparent with me. You're so open with me. Any question I have, you ask it, you check in on me. She's like, I have access to you. She's like, I can FaceTime you and you don't mind me seeing you in your bonnet, you know? She's like, and you answer my questions. You're always there no matter what. And she'll text me and be like, hey sis, you got 10 minutes to talk? I got a whole hour. Well, I tell her, listen, I'm home. I ain't doing nothing for the rest of the night. If you don't mind seeing me in my bonnet, go ahead and call. If you do mind, give me a few minutes to do my hair. But me being able to pass on what I've learned to her, it means so much to me. And she's one of a couple mentees that I have that I consider to be not just mentees, but to be my family. And so when I refer to her, I'm like, oh, my little sister. Oh, my little sister. And so for me, that's what it's all about. It's not for us. And I share that with you all too. It's not just about you growing and growing and becoming this big, amazing person. And that's it. That's all. It's about you all growing and being an amazing person, and then showing other people how they too can have that same experience, and showing them your blueprint, which are like your highlight reels and the failures. So letting people peek behind the veil in order to learn from your experiences. So yes, I have had people call me their Al Jones, and I take that to heart.
Well, Natalie, you are my Al Jones. Ever since we met, I've been watching you, and I am very inspired, especially because you come from the neighborhood, and a lot of times what we don't see is representation, and you killed it. I am so proud of you, and I'm so thankful that you were able to talk to our seniors, because it is about mentorship. It is about authentic mentorship, and that's one of the things that Rose Café is embedded in, modeling the things that we want to see. So these high level conversations that they have, this is what we want to see in the world with them. Like, I want them to speak well with every encounter. And I want to just thank you for being a part of that process.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. This is huge for me. I can say, like, with traveling like the country to speak, this rivals all of my other speaking engagements. Like, yeah. And I say that because this is what it's about. Like, it's about you bringing it home at the end of the day. Like, what good is it to travel the country and to touch lives and never bring it back home? So for me, this is like, I feel like my mom is in heaven right now, like super like chest poked out with pride, saying like, this is literally why I raised my daughter the way that I did, because I wanted her to change the world. And so I'm geeked for you all. As your next steps, as you go, as you prepare for college, just make sure you find your good community. Make sure you find your secret service. Make sure you find your golden girls, and don't strive for perfection, but strive for constant progression. And look for those opportunities. Like, if you see people or hear people getting certain internships their junior year, and maybe you're a freshman, please keep that on your radar. When you become a junior, you're like, okay, I know Al Jones had this internship because I remember hearing him talking about it. Now I'm a junior. I want to apply for it. Al Jones, can you help me with this application? Because I know you got this. I know you got the internship last time. So being able to peep game, and I'm honored that y'all had me talk about the book tonight. And yeah, this book means the world to me. And so I'll say this: when I wrote the book and I put it out, the day 2 of it, I had like a complete meltdown because I was like, oh my gosh, I was too transparent in the book. I was too vulnerable. I need to get all of those books back that I sent to the post office. I was like, no. And I called my mentor, Chiquita, and I'm like, I need to get the books back. She said, honey, those things long gone.
Oh boy.
And I got someone that read the book that knows me personally sent me this long message and was like, that book was exactly what I needed. Thank you for being so transparent. Thank you for being so vulnerable. And that was very affirming to me. And this conversation has been additional confirmation and affirmations that, you know, I did okay by adding that vulnerability in there.
I'm sorry, Natalie. Are you thinking about writing another book?
Yeah, book number 2 has already been outlined. I just got to sit down and write it. I got a lot on my plate with this PhD program, wrapping it up. But yeah, book number 2 is already outlined. I know what I want each chapter to be about. I just got to write it. So yeah.
Well, we'll be here.
Yes,
oh, absolutely.
We'll be here. So we would love to work with you again. If you need the seniors, if you inspired to like connect with them in any way, if you want to borrow them to like do anything, let them, you know, because I want people to pour into like things that can be great, so we can just show out a little bit too.
Absolutely. And if there's anything that I can do for you all as seniors, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Don't feel like I'm too busy. Don't feel like, oh, I don't want to bug her. If it comes down to like scholarships or like I want to be of a resource to you all. And I mean that. And I'm not just saying it because it sounds nice, but I legit mean that. Even if it comes down to like scholarship essays, I would be more than happy to show you all like my tips and tricks that I use to get the outside scholarships that I got. It's been a while since I was in high school, but I can still think of a running list of, actually I do know of some. I have some in a couple of presentations that I've done to high school students, but yeah, like scholarships, like it's money out there.
Yes.
It's money out there. It's money out there. And a lot of times people don't apply for it, whether they don't know about it or they're like, well, everybody else gonna apply. And if we all have that mindset and don't apply, then nobody's applying. And being able to use your vulnerability and your stories in your essays to show why people should invest in you and that their return on their investment is you changing the world. I would literally love to help y'all with that. I can give you all my email and my Instagram if need be. My Instagram is
send an email if you want with just everybody's emails in it.
Yep, because we want to also send you a gift for participating with us. So when we send you an email and ask for your address, all of us will probably be on there, and then maybe they can communicate with you from that.
Yes, but please, like that's my responsibility, is to share what I've learned with you all. And so I would love to help, even if it's when you get down to writing the essays and you're like, what do you think? Need a little bit of help? Not too sure.
I'll be sending you mine.
You will get stuck.
Okay, I'm for real. I'm gonna be looking out for it.
Okay.
This is what I love doing.
Thank you, Natalie, for your time today.
Thank you so much.
Good job, seniors.
Thank you.
Great job, and you all have a great night.
You too.
Bye.
You too.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.